Have you ever thought about why you like what you like? Like, go back through the rabbit hole you've made and try to find the source of one of your interests. Last year I had a freak out about how much birds connected to my life as I pulled back layer after layer of connection to them. This video isn't about birds, it's actually about mythology. Going down the timeline of Hades, Smite, Percy Jackson, Hercules, and some random book about Medusa in elementary. There's plenty of others, but they ultimately all come back to one show. A cartoon, to be exact. Airing on a classic, for those of us who didn't have cable, Qubo, this show stood above the rest. On nights where I fell asleep to shows like Being Ian, Jane and the Dragon, and Archie's Weird Mysteries, there was one show that I would stay up the extra 30 minutes to watch. That show was Class of the Titans. Side note, I still watched all of those shows and more, and I might make a video on them in the future, but Class of the Titans was just so good, man. It was probably the most mature show on the channel. Watching it made me feel like I was treated like a big kid, going on these serious adventures with teenage hero descendants. I remember watching it when I was young, and when I was a little bit older. 4 to 5 years ago, I was feeling curious about what they were showing then, and when I turned it on at like 2 in the morning, I was given a slap of nostalgia when I heard the theme started playing. That same thing happened when I searched for it on Amazon Prime out of curiosity. I found it all available to me, and when I queued up the first episode, nostalgia had been hitting the gym. But are those gym visits just for show, or does the show still hold up for me? Howdy, and welcome back to the bus ride through my childhood. Next stop, The Gates of Hell. Here's the synopsis of the show. It followed 7 teens who are descendants of Greek heroes that attend high school during the day and fight evil at night. It sounds very original. Well, it is. The Greek mythology is a massive focus. I don't know if it's just my memory, but I barely remember this school at all. Like, I knew the gods used the school as a disguise, but them actually having classmates and teachers didn't ring a bell. The 7 heroes have one main enemy, but they fight mini-boss type enemies throughout the series. They also visit a variety of different locations and see plenty of monsters, all based in the Greek mythos. Now that you know the basic plot, let's start off with episode 1. We start off the series with Chaos 101, which is actually a part of a 3-part special the studio made for the premiere. It begins with our main protagonist, Jay, celebrating the New Year's. He ditches the party to watch a very special event happening in space, all the planets aligning. Simultaneous to this, our main antagonist, Cronus, father of the gods and professional castrator, escapes eternity in Tartarus by knocking out, one guard. Jay goes into the party to celebrate, and as the clock strikes 12, the clock stops moving for a second. But then it goes back to normal and everything's fine. The next day, Jay gets attacked by a giant while he's teaching other kids how to boat? Okay. He gets abducted by Hermes, and then we're introduced to 2 other main characters, Atlanta and Harry. They can be summed up into one word. Atlanta is fast, and Harry is strong. They're taken to this high school where they follow around a creepy ghost janitor until they find a locked door. It turns out they all have a key to this door that they just so happen to be carrying around with them. It wasn't that they had it since they were born or found it during a very meaningful time in their lives. They just found it lying around a couple days ago. Anyway, they go in, meet Hera, Hercules, and Artemis, and they have a little test. They find out that they're actually descendants of Greek heroes. Jason for Jay, Artemis for Atlanta, and Hercules for Harry. I really want to know how these kids coordinated the names like that. That's spooky as shit, man. Jay gets sad because he doesn't feel special. He leaves the team, finds Cronus, fights a giant, tells his friends, and then they release a deadly, demonic monster out of its cage to rampage through the streets. Heroes. Also, we meet Chiron and Athena, but they don't really do much in this episode, so let's just move on to episode 2, Chaos 102, which is a great naming convention that I kind of wish they stuck with throughout the whole series. The pre-intro scene is of Cronus spooking an old guy. We start off the episode with our introduction to Archie, and let me tell you, I don't remember him at all. When I originally remembered this show, I pictured every character except Archie. He has purple hair. How do you forget someone with purple hair? Archie is the descendant of Achilles, and he has his doubts about this whole destiny thing. Hercules gives him a whip that can cut through anything, and, Wait. He gave a teenager a weapon that can cut through anything. There's some phenomenal judgment right there. After a scene where Harry moves his granny, Archie pulls an episode 1J by getting sad and leaving the school. We then meet Odie of Odysseus and Teresa of Theseus. Fuck you. Odie is smart and Teresa is... Well, I don't actually know what trait to pick for Teresa. She might end up being really generic and boring, or the most interesting of the team. I can't remember. Well, I guess she's rich, if that means anything. During this scene, we meet Persephone, who growls, and then the two newbies talk about their meeting with Hermes. Afterwards, the girls go off on their own, and Teresa immediately wonders if Jay is single. You know that thing about how I said Teresa might be interesting? I think she's just generic love interest for our main character. Damn. Jay, Harry, and Odie see that old man from earlier on the news talking about a giant monster. At the same time, Atlanta and Teresa find Archie being creepy as hell. The next day, they gear up to go find the typhus. Typhus. I'm calling it the typhus. I don't remember what it's called. It's the deadly demonic monster they let out in the first part. They split up, and after Archie shit-talks Odie...
Harry, Atlanta, and you two, I get. But Odie? Ever hear of Odysseus? He was one of the greatest heroes. You mean he's a direct descendant? A real wolf in sheep's clothing? You mean a wolf in nerd's clothing?
The monster attacks. They try to fight it, but nothing seems to work, and it goes after the other group. Odie fucking dies. Never mind, he's fine. Cronus is standing, menacingly. So they try to stop him, but oh no, he pushed the big button on the big machine, and now they have to stop fighting, I guess. Also, they killed the typhus, which is one of the most powerful monsters of Greek mythology. They really swung their hardest with this premiere. They end the episode with a tease of the final main character, as if he is some sort of key to their problem. Chaos 103. Oh no, the world is extra screwed. It looks like Cronus liked it. Because he put a ring on it. Now it's a race to find the fabled final member of our heroes, to fulfill the prophecy and destroy Cronus once and for all. Not really, though. There's like 50 more episodes left. The gang go off to talk to Aphrodite, our missing member's future mentor. Jesus, that's a string of words. After the boys got over her, she tells them to go ask the Oracle. They ask the Oracle where he is. The Oracle gets a bit handsy with Teresa, and then they head over to the train yard. They find Neil, the seventh hero and descendant of Narcissus, but not before Cronus does. They fight some giants, and then Teresa runs a fucking train into them. You know what? Teresa might not be all that bad. Cronus ends up getting away with Neil, but he leaves his mirror behind. This later gives Teresa the ability to use her vision powers, which I guess she has now, to see where Cronus took him. Teresa's kind of carrying right now, I'm not gonna lie. They find Neil and Cronus and begin another fight. Cronus fucking dies. Never mind, he's fine. They get away and induct Neil into their little cult. Odie comes up with a plan to deal with the rings. You know what he's gonna do? Melt them. He wants to melt them. They beat Cronus, get to their destination, and melt the ice. The end. Hades is closeted, which is all I had written down in my original mock-up for this one. Man's Worst Friend is the name of episode 4, and if you couldn't guess, it's about dogs. This episode starts with Harry talking to his granny when all of a sudden her dog starts acting strange and eventually ends up running away. After the intro, Harry and Odie are posting missing dog posters when they find out that multiple dogs are nowhere to be seen. We then see Teresa fucking shredding it on the lyre, but she then gets embarrassed when Apollo walks in. Because as we all know, the lyre is the dorkiest instrument in the world and definitely not like a recorder or a guitar. I'm not saying accordion. Fuck you. Man, a whole scene setting up Teresa being able to play the lyre? Surely this won't be useful later on in the episode, making Teresa play the lyre with shame to save the day. Meanwhile, the boys find out that the dogs all have, rabies or listen to one too many alpha podcasts, and they try to think of what could be the source of the problem. Odie makes a tracking collar to put on Harry's dogs so they can try to find out where they're all going. After following him, they get ambushed by a bunch of crazed dogs, but soon find the source of the problem to be none other than Cerberus himself. You know, guard dog of the underworld. He's just chilling in the forest. They go to Chiron for help, and they find out that its weakness is music from a lyre. Damn, couldn't have seen that one coming. He tells them Orpheus used one to escape the underworld, but he also says that Orpheus's lyre was enchanted, and in order to obtain it, they would have to be dead. Teresa knows of a way to the underworld, though, and she uses Persephone's secret passage. After the other group's failed attempt at caging Cerberus, sick band name by the way, they gear up to take him down by force. The Greek gods also apparently have fucking guns. Why do they? Oh, you know what? Whatever. Cerberus fucking died. He's fine. Once in the underworld gang decide to take a magical boat ride with Charon. They cross the river and find the gates of hell. And Cronus. Cronus separates Teresa from Jay and Archie and tells her to get him the lyre to save her friends. She meets Orpheus, but he confuses her with Eurydice, and wackiness ensues. So wacky. She gets the lyre, and they all escape from Cronus in the underworld with some help from the dead. They return to the city just in time to subdue Cerberus, and then...
Hades?
Oh, poor puppy. Look at you. He's really more of an indoor dog. He shouldn't be out like this. He gets so excited. Thank you. I'm glad he's not hurt. Why don't I take that back for you?
Sorry.
I heard you made quite an impression on dear Orpheus. Let's go home now, puppy. Guys?
Yeah, I was fucking right. That's my original gay icon right there. A dog tases Odie, and that's the episode. Episode 5, The Nature of Things, answers a question that I've had since I started this whole thing. Is the school actually a school? I don't remember them, being in classes or having any other friends. But I guess the answer is yes. And there's a new hot boy in town. Atlanta has a crush on this guy, and that makes Archie jealous, which creates our second main ship of the show. Phil, the new guy, accidentally leaves his fire mixtape on the table, and Archie decides that they should give it a listen. At first, it sounds like an absolute banger, dude. But soon enough, things end up all weird. The plants start dancing, everyone freezes up, and worst of all, the song sounds like shit. Odie scans the disc and finds an anomaly in the waveforms, which makes everyone a little suspicious. The next day, they find the whole city to be overgrown, so Neil and Teresa decide to snoop around. They end up finding Phil with another girl, but before they can get away, he traps them in the trees with his vine powers. The next day, before Phil's big concert, Atlanta starts to get a little bit annoyed with him, and finds out that he's been hiding something. He got horns. The boys figure out that the music has hypnotic abilities, and they go to the concert. Phil takes his shirt off, I guess. They knock Atlanta out of the trance, and then they put 2 and 2 together to find out Phil is actually the demigod Pan. They try to stop his plan, and can I just say, for a show that came out in 2005, having his motive of dooming humanity be due to us ruining the planet's kind of wild. This is something I expect from nowadays, not back 15 to 20 years ago. Motives aside, they stop Pan and find out that Cronus had been controlling him with music, so he's good now. There he goes. Jesus, that was stupid. Episode 6 is Trojan Horse. Take your bets. What's gonna be the Trojan Horse in this episode? Cronus wants to have an army of griffins to help him take over the world, but he can't seem to catch them. The gang, out camping, run into a grizzly bear, and Odie isn't able to help them in time. Hermes ends up saving the day with his staff, and he leaves it with them in case of another attack. But after he leaves, something bigger shows up. Cronus's giants. After fighting, they lose the staff, but it breaks in the process, rendering it powerless. Later, Odie's feeling down, so he tells Hermes what happens and pulls an Episode 2 Archie, otherwise known as an Episode 1 J, and leaves the team. Odie goes full bad boy, and he hacks the world. This gets Cronus' attention, and they meet up. Cronus makes Odie fucking correct, my guy, and they strike a deal. If Odie gets him the broken staff piece, he gets to keep all the power. Jay ends up seeing Odie with one of Cronus' giants, and the team hatches a plan to stop him. But Odie ends up beating them all in a fight and gets the piece. Cronus fixes the staff and tells Odie to kill his ex-friends. He takes the staff and commands the Griffins to attack. But not on the team. After Cronus is defeated, Odie reveals his plan to the rest of the heroes. I guess the real Trojan horse is the friends we made along the way. Stupid. Episode 7 starts out with... wait a minute. I didn't change the audio to Spanish. Let me just fix that real quick and... Is there something wrong with this episode? Okay. Episode 8 is... No, that one's in Spanish too. Are they all in Spanish? Oh my god, they are. Yeah, so apparently only the first 6 episodes are available in English. And while I don't have any problems with watching things in other languages, my nostalgia kinda washes away with the original cast. What I'm guessing happened is Amazon only had access to 2 DVDs with episodes 1 through 3 and 4 through 6 in English, and for some reason just had the rest of the series in Spanish. Kind of a bummer, but oh well. I guess 6 episodes will have to do. As much as I ragged on it, I fucking love this series, man. It's so much fun. The characters are good, the mythology, the style. It doesn't quite hit as well as it used to, but I'm still glad it holds up pretty well today. I just wish I could find the full series in English online for free. Completely legally, both allowing me to watch without worry and recommend the series to others by linking it in the description below. God bless Retro Rerun.